What up, everybody? The cast of 4 Season 3 has started doing their press interviews for the upcoming season, and one of the interviews released yesterday was with actress Lili Simmons, who plays Claudia on Force. And obviously, the reason she's doing press interviews for the upcoming season is because she's part of the Season 3 cast. And in the interview, they even confirm the return of Claudia as they talk about how Claudia will be in jail in Season 3 for at least Episode 1 or the first couple episodes of the season. But because she survived, I think it's likely that she ends up getting out eventually. In the interview, they talked about how at this point the only person left in Claudia's corner is Elise. And she says that Elise is pretty much Claudia's last hope. Keeping in mind that Claudia has some serious charges against her. Not only did she get caught in the middle of a drug deal with the Serbs and the Marquez cartel, but Vic also got her on a recording admitting to setting up Walter getting killed. In addition to Walter getting killed, there's a whole lot of other people that got killed that night that could also get pinned on Claudia and included in her case. But with Claudia being connected to Elise, we know Elise is rich and has access to resources, so she'll definitely make sure that Claudia has the best lawyer that money can buy. So we can definitely expect to see another lawyer introduced to the storyline in Season 3 who will be representing Claudia now that we know she's alive. One way that Claudia could get out of jail is if she agrees to be an informant, as she was telling DeFranco when she was getting arrested that she would cooperate. But with her brother already serving as an informant for the feds, they don't have much use of her. And if they did agree to let Claudia out of prison to snitch, who's she gonna snitch on at this point? Because Tommy or nobody in CBI with her. So I think getting out of jail by snitching is unlikely for Claudia. So if she gets out, it'd probably be on some kind of technicality. Likely something that has to do with her brother being involved. Potentially not being able to use the recording that Vic got of her in court. Then that would just leave the drug charges against her. But with Claudia surviving getting stabbed in jail, this is an Easter egg going back to Power Season 2, Episode 10. The exact same season and episode that Claudia got stabbed in jail. But this was the episode that Ghost tried to clean house in order to go legit, and this included having to put a hit out on Lobos when he was in custody. But Lobos survived the hit just like Claudia. And after Ghost put the hit out on Lobos and he was stabbed, the feds pretended like Lobos was dead and did his trial under a John Doe name. So could Claudia get similar treatment after there was an attempt on her life? It might at least get her in protective custody. But one big difference in Ghost putting the hit out on Lobos when he was locked up and Tommy putting the hit out on Claudia is that Ghost didn't take credit for the hit on Lobos, having the hitter leave behind the Jimenez signature card, while Tommy wanted Claudia to know it was him who not only put the hit out on her, but that he was also behind setting her up to get locked up. But just like Ghost's plan backfired and had Lobos turn to Tommy, threatening him to take out Ghost, Tommy's plan to take out Claudia could also backfire. In the biggest way this might end up backfiring on Tommy is if Claudia passes on to the Marquez cartel and the Serbs that Tommy was behind, setting them up to go to prison. And with the trailer revealing that there will be a street war between the Marquez cartel and CBI in Season 3, it's likely Claudia passing this information on that starts this war. This also likely means that the Serbs will have a role in this war as well, even though it's very unlikely that Mirkovic will get released. So the Serbs will likely have a new leader taken over in Season 3, making it the 5th Serbs leader we've seen in power, with Vladimir, Milan, Jason, Mirkovic, and now whoever will be running the Serbs in Season 3. I know Tatiana was running the Serbs crew for a minute also, but I don't really count her. But Tommy won't be the only person who has a target on his back for setting up the Marquez cartel and the Serbs to get locked up. Shanti Showstopper was also involved, and Claudia was on the phone with Shanti and had found out that Shanti had betrayed her right before she was stabbed. So the Marquez cartel and the Serbs will be coming for both Tommy and Shanti, specifically for setting them up. And there's also the fact at the end of season 2, Tommy wanted Shanti to continue to act like they were beefing because he had one more move for her to make. When Claudia puts the word out that Tommy and Shanti are working together, it could put Shanti in more danger. And if Shanti ends up getting killed as a result of this whole situation, we already know that Gennard is going to snap and is going to blame Tommy, whether it's his fault or not. But when Tommy showed Che the footage of the Marquez cartel and the Serbs getting locked up, Che told Tommy that he risked a war between the Marquez and the Estrada cartel. But Tommy ensured Che that CBI's fingerprints weren't on this, and this is why Che agreed to work with CBI directly, only for Tommy to let revenge get in the way of business and expose to Claudia what happened. So this could cause problems between CBI and Che once war breaks out. And there's also a possibility that before the Marquez cartel goes to war with CBI, they could wipe the Estrada cartel completely out of Chicago and kill Che in the process. Either that or Che could have a problem with Tommy over starting the war, and this could be part of the reason why Tommy ends up having problems with Diamond and CBI. Che could potentially tell Diamond that if CBI wants to keep doing business with him, that he has to cut out Tommy, possibly even telling Diamond he needs to kill Tommy. And that would be an Easter egg going back to the Lobos hit, like I mentioned earlier in the video, how he told Tommy to kill Ghost. But something else in regards to Claudia Flynn returning in season 3 of Force is that in the interview, they also mentioned at some point in season 3 of Force, Tommy's going to tell Claudia that she's the baddest out of all the Flynns and that he respects Claudia more than her brother or her father. So with Tommy at some point telling this to Claudia, it pretty much guarantees that Claudia will get out of jail at some point in season 3. And also that she doesn't get out of jail by snitching, because Tommy wouldn't respect her if she snitched and worked with the cops. And that's probably part of the reason why he respects her more than Vic. But this could also mean that Tommy might end up working with Claudia Flynn again in some type of way, with Tommy becoming a lone wolf at some point in season 3, and with Claudia getting out of jail and not having anybody to work with other than Elise. This could end up having Tommy and Claudia working together again. Like OG Kanan the narrator once said in Raising Kanan, that the game has a way of turning your friends into enemies and your enemies into friends. Something else that was mentioned in the interview is the fact that we're going to see a more grittier side of Claudia in season 3 with her being in jail. And obviously, with Claudia growing up rich in Walter's mansion and living in her penthouse, a jail cell is going to be a big change for her. In addition, surviving an attempt on her life. These things are just going to make Claudia tougher, showing that she's the one who was built for the life. And Claudia might end up being who's running the North Side Irish at the end of the series. And that was also potentially foreshadowed in the first episode of Force. When Claudia was first introduced, she was sitting in Walter's chair. And there you have it. Leave your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments.